The poet Phillis Wheatley had a short and difficult life. Despite her status as the very first published African American and the creator of the African American literary genre. Taken from her birth home of Gambia, she was sold into slavery when she was only 7 years old. Her real name is lost to history. Wheatley was the last name of her slave owners in New England, and Phillis was the name of the slave ship that brought her into captivity. She was frail and sickly when she arrived in America, and the captain sold her at a steep discount. He figured she was about to die anyway. However, her new owner, Susanna Wheatley, soon recognized her talent for learning and did something that was unthinkable for the time. She began teaching Phillis to read and write. By 13, Wheatley was already writing exceptional poetry, and by the time she was 18, she had a collection of 28 poems ready for publication. Her first volume, Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral, quickly made her an international success. Households all over England and New England celebrated the slave woman who could write such beautiful verse, and used her to argue against the popular idea that Black people were incapable of higher learning or sophisticated art. She visited with famous writers, foreign nobility, and even met with Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. Her poetry is remarkable for its masterful use of classical verse and meter, together with its rich literary and biblical references. Wheatley loved the great experiment of America, even expressing gratitude for her conversion to Christianity after being brought from Africa to America. But Wheatley never forgot her African roots, or the thousands of her fellow slaves who weren't lucky enough to learn to read and write. She urged her readers to overcome their own prejudice and remember the humanity within all people. She was granted her freedom and allowed to marry soon after her master's death. And although she kept writing, she found that most white Americans were unwilling to pay for the work of a slave woman. She soon slipped into poverty, losing 2 children to illness and working as a housekeeper to make ends meet. As she grew sicker and more isolated, she tried one last time to publish a book of poetry dedicated to Benjamin Franklin, but failed to find any support. On December 5th, 1784, at age 31, she died, followed 3.5 hours later by her only remaining infant son. Although her life was full of suffering and disappointment, Phillis Wheatley always held on to her belief in the promise of America and paved the way for future generations of Black and female authors to find the success and recognition that ultimately eluded her.